All right, Jenny, let's get a little bit into your music career here. Jenny, how did you get your start into music?
I've been playing music my whole life. I've always sang, and when I was little, I took piano and was always involved in school plays. I took some voice lessons and was in chorus, just kind of anything I could get into. And then when I went to college at Elon University down in North Carolina, I was in an a cappella group called Twisted Measure, and that was when I really noticed that music was a passion for me, and decided after college to pursue it. And so that's when I picked up the guitar and started to write, and kind of built a band around my music and started playing out.
Talk to me a bit about your musical influences and what inspires you to write music and what inspires you to create music.
I started writing, honestly, it was after college, so I haven't been writing all that long. I got my guitar for Christmas after college and just kind of learned a few chords and figured out what it is that I liked about certain writing styles, and I found that country music was sort of my niche as far as my writing style. And I guess influence-wise, Taylor Swift is a big one because of how she just writes as a storyteller. So that got me interested in country music and country writing. And then as far as influences in general, Martina McBride is a big one vocally. Carrie Underwood, and then Miranda Lambert is huge. I really like her style and her attitude, and her writing style as well.
What has been the biggest challenge for you as a musician?
The biggest challenge for me so far has been honestly just trying to fund a career on the grassroots level. I feel like a solo artist, I work full time and I'm trying to juggle being creative, writing, promoting shows, practicing with the band, building a band, traveling and trying to manage my schedule. I feel like it's just a lot of stuff to do, and I have to wear a lot of different hats all the time, and I wish I had more time to just focus on what matters, and that's the music. So that's been a struggle, but the community here in Baltimore has been amazing, and a lot of people that are here are fans and support my music by coming to my shows and purchasing it on iTunes and doing everything that they can to sort of give me that lift that I need.
You're a country singer, and you're in Baltimore. Baltimore isn't really known for their country music. Is it challenging being a country singer from that area?
It is definitely not known for the country music, so I have to assume that the fan base here is extremely loyal, and they've just been amazing, supporting me in something that's kind of counterculture.
Is it a challenge to be from Maryland, Baltimore, and be a country singer? Are you taken less seriously because of where you're from?
Well, I'm trying to look at it as that I have a monopoly on the business here. I think it adds something. It's not typical, but it's not unheard of. I mean, we have a great country radio station here in Baltimore, WPOC. There's a lot of people out in Frederick and Towson and Western Maryland that are huge country fans. So, I'm trying to bring a fresh perspective on country music because I do live in a city and have a city lifestyle. I also sing in a funk and soul R&B band, and I think that really brings a lot of influence into my music as well. So hopefully it's just a fresh look at country, which hopefully is just a little bit refreshing. But yeah, it's definitely not the mainstream here. So I do what I can. I'm working with it.
You released a 4-track demo in 2009. Talk about your song "Set Me Free," which also made it into regular rotation on radio in Washington, D.C.
Yep, 98.7 picked it up. I submitted everything to a few local radio stations after I released the demo, and these were 4 originals that I wrote pretty early on. It's interesting that Set Me Free was the first one to hit because it was one that I didn't really produce. I just played acoustic guitar and sang on it, and my guitar teacher, we were at a lesson in the mall out in Frederick, and he was playing lead guitar over it. And we just recorded it on an 8-track in the room, and we didn't touch anything afterwards. So I had considered not even putting it on the demo or just keeping it, as an acoustic raw version of the song. And it ended up being a lot of people's favorites, which was really cool.
So you're also featured as Artist of the Month on WPOC 93.1 in Washington. The station sponsored one of your live performances. What was that like?
Yep, that's actually the local station out of Baltimore, and they hold a lot of country events here. I think it was 2 summers ago, they featured me and did kind of a spotlight. They played the songs off the demo that we just talked about, and they did a live performance at High Tops, which is a little bit north of Baltimore. And that was really cool because it allowed me to get exposure into the community, and it was one of the first kind of big steps that I took with showcasing my original material in my town. So I think it was a cool springboard, and I've worked with WPOC a lot since then. They've had some really cool shows come through. Dirk Bentley was one of them, and they sponsored the show, and I actually opened up for him on Super Bowl Sunday, and then more recently they had Joe Nichols come through, and I opened for him as well. So I do think that it kind of led me into bigger opportunities. And then another thing that they recently had was Sunday in the Country, which is a huge summer festival. This past summer, Eric Church headlined, and I actually got to go and sing the national anthem to kick off the show. So they are absolutely fantastic and really believe in country music here. So it was really great to have had that opportunity a couple years ago and sort of build upon it.
What was it like then to open up for Joe Nichols and big names like that?
It's incredible. I mean, to walk onto a stage where so many fans are already there, and to be able to perform in front of thousands of people as opposed to in the smaller venues in town, it's a exciting experience. And a lot of people think that I'm crazy and they can't understand how I'm not nervous in that type of situation. But to me, it was exciting, and it really gave me a flavor, a taste of what it's like to tour and to be on a big stage, which is exactly what I want to do. So I'll keep striving for that and hope that someday I'll be the one headlining those big stages. So it was really cool.
Talk about your song Crossroads.
Crossroads was on a recent EP that I released on iTunes called Falling Forward. It was sort of the title, the single off of that EP. This was a really kind of liberating song, and I wrote it a few years ago and worked with one of my colleagues from Elon to produce a music video for it. So he actually is out of DC, and that's where I recorded the EP. So we collaborated and recorded a music video in Virginia, and it was great because it was all friends and people who were starting in the industry, whether it was film or makeup art or lighting, all of those things. We kind of all got to help each other get a really big project under our belts, and it was a professional, awesome experience, and it really helped me to kind of put together something that I could use for marketing material, to really show that I was taking this seriously and not just writing some songs and playing bar gigs, but I was really trying to market myself as an artist.
Talk to me then a bit about your album Falling Forward. You mentioned it just before there. What was the biggest challenge in coming up with the album, and what was your biggest inspiration for that album?
The biggest challenge was finding the right studio and the funding, and there's a lot of people that I've worked with in the area, and just trying to figure out what it was that I wanted to do and where. So it was funny because the Crossroads song, I hadn't recorded it yet when my friend approached me about doing a music video, and he happened to know a great producer by the name of Jim Ebert out of DC, and we ended up recording that track for the video there. And working with Jim was fantastic. He's a multi-platinum producer. And then after we recorded that first song and got that out of the way, we ended up wanting to work together, and that's where I ended up doing the remainder of the album.
You've also, although you're a country artist, you've crossed into a lot of other genres. I read that you recorded the vocals for the making of an Under Armour commercial called Cam's Night Out with DJ Arab Music. What was that like, and I guess what's led you to experiment with other genres?
Well, I've always been a fan of a lot of different types of music. I grew up on on oldies music, and I didn't start to really get into country music until later. I love Motown and R&B and soul, and the way that I sing, I was trying to marry soul and country music together, and so that's why I sing in a funk and R&B band in Baltimore. So I get to do a lot of different things, and working on this commercial for Cam Newton, that was no different. It was really cool to explore, doing vocals over a hip hop track. And since I've done that, I've actually worked with a couple of hip hop artists in Baltimore to help write and to lay some vocals down on some of their music. So I absolutely think that it makes me a better artist to be more knowledgeable in different genres and be able to have those different experiences.
What's the next step for you in your career?
The next step for me is recording in Nashville. I'm currently working on a Kickstarter project, which will launch this week, so that I can go down to Nashville in Music City and do what I do best in a city that really appreciates and promotes country music. So I've been working and visiting Nashville quite a bit over the last year, and I've had the experience of working with John Rich of Big and Rich on a TV show this summer called The Next, and he was a mentor on the show, and they casted in 6 different cities around the U.S., Baltimore being one of them. So I was the country contestant from Baltimore, and he has been incredible as a mentor, and I've kept in touch with him since the show. So I'm hoping to do a little bit of work with him down there and record some of my new material. So that's kind of the next step.
In terms of going to Nashville, and you've mentioned you've been many times, what's that feeling like for a country girl from Baltimore?
It's great because people kind of look at me funny. They're like, "Really, you're from Baltimore? Do they even have country music? Are there radio stations up there?" Kind of just the normal thing that I hear. But I like it because it adds a little bit of edge to what I have to bring to the table. And like I said before, I'm hoping that what I have to offer, it's still very much country music, but I'm hoping it's just a little bit different and a little bit fresh, so that I can have success in Nashville.
You mentioned that you're also a working musician and you have another job that you sort of work out. You work full time or you work during the day. How difficult is it to balance work life and your music career and just all the things that come into a daily life?
It's extremely difficult. I like to be busy. I wouldn't necessarily say I like to be this busy. It's like having full-time jobs back to back to back, between music and rehearsals and shows and marketing and social media. Plus, I work for Under Armour in the marketing department, and I've been there for about 5 years. So it's a really fast-paced, great company, but it's demanding and it's rewarding, but it's a lot of work, and I feel like I'm constantly burning the candle at both ends. So I'm trying to find a balance, but as things progress with music and as my career becomes a little bit more successful each day, it's a really, really good problem to have. So I don't mind pursuing both.
That's pretty cool that you actually do work for Under Armour. They seem like they've been pretty supportive for your music career.
Absolutely. I feel extremely lucky. It's a great company, and there's a lot of people who are, young and active and will come out to shows. And when I was on the TV show this summer, there was probably 150 people just from Under Armour that came out to the filming, and we actually did a couple of shots on campus so that they could really get a day in the life of what it was like to work there. And they tried to capture what it was like to do exactly what you're talking about, work full time and pursue music all the while. So they've been great and continue to encourage me and show their support. So I am really lucky there.
Just going to ask you a couple more quick questions here. One of them is, if you could perform anywhere in the world, where would it be?
Anywhere in the world? Man. Well, I have to say Grand Ole Opry, because that would just be the ultimate goal.
Going to ask you another question. Some of these questions are just meant to be fun and quirky. What is your favorite movie?
My favorite movie, I have to say, Milo and Otis. it's an old favorite from when I was a kid.
I'm going to ask you that. What was your favorite Disney movie growing up?
My favorite Disney movie is definitely Lion King. I think the soundtrack is amazing, and I watched Little Mermaid and Aladdin and all those, but I think Lion King takes the cake.
If you were a tour guide for one day and you were showing somebody around Washington D.C. or Baltimore, what would you take them to, and what would you show them?
Sorry, can you say it one more time?
If you were a tour guide for either Baltimore or Washington D.C., what would you do with the person for one day, and what would you show them around your city?
Well, I would love to go to the 930 Club in D.C. That's my favorite venue, and I would have to say if I could meet an entertainer, it would be Grace Potter. I just saw her perform there, and it was absolutely amazing. And then, as far as Baltimore is concerned, I would show her around the harbor, because there's a million different places you can go, and I would probably take her to Fells Point, where all the live music is.
What is one thing about yourself that your fans and friends that don't really know about you? Do you collect something interesting, or do you have like a weird hobby or anything?
Something people probably don't know about me is that I hold the bench press record from my high school.
Very cool.
And I'm 5'2", so a lot of people probably would not guess that about me.
How much did you bench?
I benched 125, which was more than my body weight.
Good for you. Congratulations.
I was in a weight training class with all football players, all boys, so I had to kind of hold my own and impress them to stay alive in there.
Did they take you more seriously after?
Oh, yeah. They don't mess.
Anything else you want to? How do people find you on social media?
What's that?
How do people find you on social media?
You can visit Facebook. It's Love for Jenny Leigh, and it's spelled Love, the number 4, and then JENNYLEIGH. And then Twitter, my handle is Jenny Leigh Music, and again, it's JENNYLEIGH Music.
All right, Jenny, I just want to say thank you very much for coming on the program, and I apologize for a bit of a behind start for the interview, but I thank you very, very much for coming on. It's been a lot of fun.
No problem.